Hello everyone. We have difficult traumatic feelings to keep experiencing after the horrible events of October 7th last year, the attacks on peace-loving ravers at the Nova Festival, and kibbutzniks killed and taken hostage, even though they were committed to peaceful coexistence. The rhetoric and political realignment is nerve-wracking and hostile, which makes people sadly more susceptible to the politics of fear. Bring the hostages home, fuck Hamas. If that cannot be agreed upon, we have problems. What I would like to warn people about, this is important, is that it would be a big mistake to vote in favor of Putin, autocracy, fossil fuels, and evangelical socially conservative policies at the moment. I'm from Long Island. I understand the rhetoric. I know you don't want a big wasteful government subsidizing all kinds of useless shit in a super wasteful way. I get it. I was raised in the Nassau County, New York of Tom Galata. Please listen to folks like Timothy Snyder, Stephen Kotkin, Julia Ioffe. Get informed. In my previous videos, I detailed how Israel, a world leader in renewable energy and drylands agriculture, will be a net beneficiary in any administration that puts its money where its mouth is. Both U.S. political parties need sensible energy policy at the end of the day to protect both the western U.S. from turning into an expanded Mojave and Sonora desert, the southeast into a hurricane-prone savanna, and my hometown of Long Beach, Long Island, into the Atlantic Ocean. Don't think the Colorado River, which doesn't even reach the Sea of Cortez in Mexico anymore, will feed the thirsty populations of Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Saudi Arabian-owned alfalfa plantations, and everything else forever at this rate. Israel, despite all the noble work in reforestation, drylands agriculture, water conservation, and even filling up the Sea of Galilee with desalinated water, could, heaven forbid, become a new extension of the giant Sahara Desert, or a starving Egypt, whichever gets there first. Fact is, one party has a better platform than the other that will prevent the economy and the health of global humanity from plummeting off a cliff from the disruptions already beginning from global climate change. You know it's here, and people of both parties should take steps to build resilience into the economy and critical redundancies into the energy transmission system. Once the enemies of Israel will have to weave carpets or grow pistachios and apricots instead of easy oil money, everything will come together when it comes to regional security for Israel and the Middle East. The enemies will have to think twice about wasting their now limited funds, no longer easy money, that they will now critically need to import food and medicine. The terrorists and their backing regimes will have less fighter planes and missiles, and maybe someday limit their belligerence to the pen. They may even need to invest more in education beyond Arabic calligraphy, even allow their women to participate in the workforce and civil society. So, please don't fear Democratic President Harris and her beloved First Gentleman Douglas Emhoff. So what are the steps to defund the petroleum economy? We need to source rare earth elements, lithium, cobalt, and silicon, essential to new renewable energy installations like wind turbines and photovoltaics, from places other than China's Inner Mongolia. As this video is being made, new infrastructure is being developed in places like the Salaris salt plains of Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. New resource discoveries are being made in friendlier places like Greenland and Norway. So we can't really trust just one person and one person alone to wade us through such a complicated transformational moment in human civilization. Folks, this is a moment very important for the US and Israel to wind up in a good place after the proactive changes are made. We need an expert team, and with all the resignations and acrimony of previous staffers like Omar Rosa, Attorney General Bob Barr, and Ivanka, the daughter of Czechoslovakian Ivana, married through Jared Kushner into the Charles Kushner crime family, they would not be able to get us through this process the right way. So you Truth Social Pravda readers, or Right Curious Jews, may have recently seen the post about a letter from PLO head Mahmoud Abbas, the guy with blood on his hands, receiving a glowing black Sharpie pen response from your supposedly pro-Israel fighter from Jamaica Estates, Queens. This is simply disgusting, and this is violation of the Jones Act, and PLO coddling leaves a nasty taste. JD, Juvenile Delinquent Vance, and his Putin ass-kissing we cannot trust no matter how many times his faux redneck buttface wants to kiss the kotel, the Western Wall. Their fake prosperity gospel of eviscerating all social programs would spin us on a race to the bottom, towards a new feudalism of ever-eroding worker and environmental protections, as an overheating world clamors to an ever smaller pie of basic resources. The Republicans want a fossil fuel-driven autocracy of first-family oligarchs, and everyone else can go to hell, and this is quite contrary to Jewish values. A rising tide lifts all boats. There is genuine potential for new green-collar and manufacturing jobs, going to both the U.S. and Israel as major centers of innovation and production in future years. Do we want a Valkenvania like the legendary cult film Nothing But Trouble? Do we want more coal and blasting our water supplies with toxic frack water for near eternity, and all the unknown ramifications that entails? I'm from Long Island. I know all about the perchlorate disaster from all the point sources of pollution from the dry cleaning industry, and then the hazardous situation from the Northrop Grumman defense contracting toxic strontium plume gradually dripping through the Long Island pine barrens towards the Hamptons. So, fracking? These Appalachians like J.D. Vance, they dream of a Valkenvania frack water revival. All this toxic fracking business, this temporary gain for just a bissela, un poquitito, of crude petroleum droplets, unstuck to shale in places like Pennsylvania, during the disgusting Frankenstein fracking process. So Trumpian, only a graduate of Trump University would think that fracking is such a great idea long term. Yes, there will be disruptions, but an accelerated transition away from fossil fuels won't wreck the economy, just identify several growing pains. In fact, diversifying energy sources will provide crucial resilience and stabilize prices from inflation due to the OPEC oil cabal and whatever the machinations of the day there are from the military-industrial complex. And as far as military readiness, global warming will do a number on flooding our Coast Guard, Navy, and Army installations dependent on foreign or fracked oil. So let's get to it. Let's defund the petrocrats, and let's level the playing field for Israel, so countries that prosper from innovative research and development can get the rewards they deserve, Gangnam style. Let's make sure democracy is saved from these far-right neo-Nazi nutjobs. And if that means leaning to the center-left to make sure that Kamala Harris and no one else is the Jamaican Indian head of the executive branch, so be it. Besides protecting the rule of law from the reactionary fascist threat of David Duke, Steve Bannon, Steve Miller, juvenile delinquent Vance, and the Trumpsters, we also need to overhaul the Supreme Court, Senate, and Electoral College while we're at it. But that is the subject of another video. What do you think? Does the free world have a shot with this plan? Let me know in the comments. Thoughtfully. Ciao for now.